Welcome back to another episode of the Real Health Podcast. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining in. Whether you're listening through Apple or Spotify, or you're checked into our new YouTube channel, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. It is an honor and a privilege to give you weekly commuter-style podcasts to help you understand more about your health and the health of your family. So let's dive in. After we just finished up a two-part series on caffeine, we're going to step into kind of more of a psychology concept here, and that is, don't let your diagnosis define you. And so this is really kind of put upon my heart this week to share with you and give you hope. There's a scripture in Proverbs 12 verse 11 says, "Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a desire fulfilled is a tree of life." And if we lose our hope in our health or hope in our healing, it's very difficult to live a fulfilled life. And hope is one of the most important elements to healing. We have to have hope for our healing. We have to have hope for our health. And it is when we lose hope that we aren't going to experience all that God has for us in our healing journey. We also have a saying in the office, and that is, we want you to age well and suffer strong. Our goal in this podcast is to help communicate information that's for longevity and anti-aging. We want to age well. But the reality is we still live in a fallen, sick, and broken world, and so sickness and disease still exists, pain still happens, and we should expect it transparently. If you expect to live the rest of this world, in this space and time, and you expect to be unscathed, unharmed, no pain, then you're believing a false narrative. You will have pain, you will have sickness, but the way we address our pain and our sickness really can help define who we will become. Again, hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a desire fulfilled is a tree of life. So let's step back and let's talk about that diagnosis that you might have gotten. Maybe you were just recently diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, cancer even. And so when we process the diagnosis, what I see in my office is that when clients come in and they've been searching for answers, and we provide finally this answer, say, hey, this is why you don't feel well. It creates a hope, right? It creates a moment of like, oh man, I've been searching for this for so long. And it's rewarding, it's encouraging, and it's edifying in the moment. It gives explanation to why people have been potentially suffering for months, if not years. And then we create a plan of action, a treatment plan to help those people overcome that chronic illness. And what we find is that over a period of time, that there will be symptoms that come back. Now, those symptoms may be attributed to that root cause that we found. And so maybe it is that autoimmune condition kind of flaring back up. But often, if we take strategies and reversing that pre-autoimmune or autoimmune condition, and we see normalcy on blood work, right? Then we have symptoms. Our brain wants to immediately label us with that potential like autoimmune condition and say, oh, here we go again. This is why I have these symptoms. And the problem is that it may be associated with whatever, again, that core issue was, but it may be something completely different. Maybe you just had a rough week. We all have them. Maybe you're overtrained. Maybe you're overly stressed emotionally. So therefore, we shouldn't necessarily attach every symptom to whatever our diagnosis was. I see this a lot with mold and Lyme patients. And so what happens is when we're diagnosed with this like Lyme disease or chronic mold toxicity, And immediately it's like, hey, finally some relief behind my anxiety or my depression or my symptoms. Then for the rest of our life, every single symptom, no matter what it is, will always be, well, it's my mold coming back, or it's my Lyme coming back. And the reality is most often, if you properly address the root issue, it is not mold coming back and Lyme coming back. It's completely separate. This week, there's been a virus, adenovirus, that's been kind of circulating. So a lot of cold and chronic fatigue. And often you'll have patients that are just reporting symptoms like, hey, these symptoms are coming back. And so when I communicate, hey, this is probably this virus that's circulating, it gives them like just this sigh of relief, like, okay, I'm just making sure it's not, right, a flare-up of what I had in the past. And why this is so important to not be defined by your diagnosis is that it would be like carrying a dead man on your back for the rest of your life, or this burden or this yoke that never comes off of you. When we properly heal and go through this journey of healing, then I truly believe we can be set free from that diagnosis at some point in our life. As we heal, we are getting further and further away from when we were the sickest, and is getting set free from that sickness and illness, and able to create health and hope for our future. In some cases, you may never escape the diagnosis in a sense like that. You may have autoimmunity and it may never be reversed. You may have a type of cancer that is never reversed. Some of the closest people in my life have both of those that we will probably never reverse. But are we constantly being held by that, or are we looking to the future that, hey, all I can do is these pillars that we talk about: sleep well, eat well, move well, get adjusted, and live a detox lifestyle. If we're doing that, if we're truly like living out healthy lifestyle, then our diagnosis should not define us. And then in that situation, no matter what comes about, hey, let's suffer strong. We may have pain, we may hurt, and we may have flare-ups, but can we push through and suffer strong, or are we going to be bound and fearful on our diagnosis? That hey, it can rob you. It can rob the joy in your life. There's interesting. So obviously, most people know, but not everyone knows that I'm a chiropractor by trade, and so a lot of patients come in with low back pain. And there's an interesting study when we look at back pain, and let's just talk about something specific called disc herniations. So that's when the disc protrudes out of the spine and puts pressure on nerves and can cause pain. A lot of people will maybe be in chronic pain, and they'll do an MRI, and they'll see a disc herniation or a disc bulge, and say, hey, that's the source of my pain. That's the source of my problem. But interesting thing enough is it may not be. It may be, but it may not be. Sometimes they're just insignificant findings in X-ray and MRIs. So actually research shows that 1 in 4 people will have a disc bulge and completely be asymptomatic, no symptoms at all. So how does it explain the case that there's a disc bulge and no pain, and there's disc bulges with pain? What's the source of the problem? What's the root issue? And if you have this patient who has no idea they have a disc bulge, but they're in chronic pain, but they do everything they need to do to heal and overcome that pain, and they get freed of that pain, and then they have another injury in the future, right? They just address that injury and they move on. And then you have this person B who has this pain, and then they see this image and they see this disc bulge, and it may be the source of their pain. It may not be the source of their pain, but to them, it is the source of their pain. Without question, 100%, this is the cause. And when they go through their healing and maybe they're told, hey, this is with you forever, we may have to do surgery, immediately they're put into this box of, hey, disc bulge, disc herniation, chronic pain, you can't move, you can't squat, you can't bend over, you are now in this box of restriction and this medical diagnosis of this, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't. But this other person has the exact same condition, and maybe they experience pain, but they don't know it's a disc bulge, and so they don't know, hey, you can't bend and you shouldn't squat. No one's told them that. So they bend and they squat, and they move their body through pain. They don't move their body to pain, and they overcome their chronic pain condition. We see this so much with pain especially. And we see this so much with autoimmune conditions and chronic illness, are we able to frame out our symptom and say, hey, this is the symptom we have, but I can continue to invest in my body and move through it regardless of what the outcome is. I'm just going to do what I need to do today to overcome whatever that maybe diagnosis or current condition is, hoping for a better future. For me, I had multiple disc herniations. And long story short, the last injury that I had to my back put me in a pretty debilitating state. And long story short, chronic pain, numbness down my left leg, foot had a little bit of weakness to it, a little foot drop from some nerve damage. Every morning I'd wake up unable to stand directly upright. Every morning, and this would continue for weeks and months. And so what I did was what I know to be good. I strength trained, mobilized, ate an anti-inflammatory diet. I got adjusted, and so regardless of my pain, I continued the plan of action. Month 1, no change. Month 3, no change. Month 9, no change. Month 12, year end, no change. And right about 18 months, I woke up one day and I was like, I'm pain-free. I didn't hurt. I was able to stand directly up. It didn't take me 5 minutes in the shower just to kind of loosen up. I was pain-free. Actually, I've been pain-free ever since. And this was a couple years ago. What if I gave up in month 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 months in, right? What if I just associated that disc bulge herniation and the degeneration of my low back? What if I just said, hey, I'm stuck with this forever? Well, I would never experience the freedom on the other end. And so maybe that's you. Maybe you have been labeled with something or have had this chronic condition, and you've been doing everything you know to be true and right, and you've stayed the course for 3 months and 6 months and 12 months and 18 months, maybe 2 years, maybe 5 years you've stayed the course, and you still haven't broken through. What about year 6? What about year 7? Who knows what's available to your future? I was working with a patient this morning, a new patient. She said she's had chronic migraines. Now she's in her late 40s. She's had chronic migraines since she was 3. And she said she's done all the strategies of autoimmune diet and so on and so forth. The last year, there was a breakthrough where she had eliminated her chronic migraines that she's had since she was 3. And it took years of working in her health. So don't give up. Don't lose hope. Hope for healing. Stay hopeful for your healing. Keep trudging along. Stick to the foundational pillars of health. Move every day. Eat an anti-inflammatory diet. Get good restful sleep. Hydrate your body. Get adjusted. Reduce neurological stress, and detoxify your body. And when you accomplish these tasks on a daily basis, you will see a change. You will see breakthrough. It is inevitable that you will reap what you sow. So just, hey, this today is really designed as like an encouragement. Hope deferred makes the heart sick. So if you've lost hope in your healing, stay the course. Breakthrough is absolutely possible another day from now, another week from now, another month from now, and maybe even another year from now. But don't lose hope. Stay hopeful that everything you've been doing will accomplish its purpose in your body. Age well, suffer strong, and thanks for listening to the Real Health Podcast.